everybody for coming and making it, especially the ones coming from all these, all the other side of the island from Hawaii. Anyway, and it's perfect timing because I was waiting for all of you to arrive. So, and I've always wanted to share my story, but if I would tell it individually, it's a very intense story and it takes energy. So to share it in this way is much nicer. So I think I would start. I would start from the very beginning. So not everybody knows what I exactly have, and I think it's easier if I start from the beginning, which is 6 months ago already, I believe it or not. Actually, I was swimming in the ocean and going around on my bicycle, but I had on and off these fever attacks that I thought was a virus from India, and they would come up 24 hours and go away. And 1 week before, like I call it, my meteor shower arrived, the fevers increased, and for 1 week they came close up together, one after another, and I was continuously very, very hot. And it was very hard to seek help for this because not many people know about this, about tropical disease, as I thought. And I had some health issues, and I thought they were like maybe parasites. I know I had like a little bit of blood in my stools, and I thought maybe I'm allergic to something. And also, I have to tell the truth, every time I do a test, people make mistakes, like they switch my name, there's always something. So I didn't trust the normal tests at that time. And at a certain moment, it got so bad, I was like shaking, like in the books, like they say, my teeth were clattering. I was so, I couldn't stand up straight. Gilbert had to put me under the shower to cool me off before he could, support me and help me to go to emergency. And when I was in emergency, it felt very good. And I thought I'm at the right place in the right time, because if I would have had this in Bali or India or anywhere else, I would have died. It's just a fact. So what I actually almost died of is a septic infection. Like, what happened is that I had a cancer that started very low in the colon and high in the rectum. I never had any problems, so I never had indication of something was wrong with my intestinal functions. But it ate its way out and went into my uterus and my ovaries, and it became one big mass. So all like liquids from that area came in my sterile environment here, and that's what the septic infection was. So I was very, very lucky that they caught it on time. Like Judith and Shelley, you are both very familiar, both nurses, and I was very grateful that they saved my life. But as I was, before I went in, they did all kinds of tests. I didn't know anything yet. And so before I went under for operations, the surgeon told me, well, as it is, I want you to make up your will. I said, what for? She says, well, you're about to die. Well, she didn't say that. She says, you have cancer, stage 4, you have all kinds of stuff going on, and you might, when you wake up, you might not recognize Gilbert, and you might not make it. And I thought, is she out of her mind? I really thought this was like an alien language she was speaking. And I said, don't worry. I said, is it really necessary to take my uterus away? And she says, yes, otherwise you die. I said, okay, then please take away as little as you can. And yes, she did. And afterwards, she told me that they took away my uterus, they took away my ovaries, they took away part of my colon, and she said, by the way, you've only a very short time to live. I said, I was still in a state of mind, and I absolutely did not feel that was applicable to myself, but people say that happens, but I was so convinced that I would be okay, so I just didn't listen to her. But I, at the same time, realized when you're in situations like that, you're very vulnerable, so whatever is said to you becomes your truth. And that's very dangerous, and I really feel so much compassion for people. Suppose I don't have a spiritual tool, suppose I don't have tools to make myself calm or not listen to things that I think are not right for me and that situation, you would be destroyed. And I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of, especially women, maybe are put into situations when it comes to cancer that there's so incredible, enormous pressure from everywhere that you take decisions that are maybe not in alignment with who you are and or what you can do for your own body, with all respect. And at the same time, I also think that we all really should do what we believe in. If I believe that chemo is good for me, then it's probably good for me. Because I know many people who also survived chemo and had a very good experience. So I can't speak for others. But all I knew is, in the back of my mind, if I ever have something, I go to John of God. I already know it for, 20 years, first time I heard about him. And since 10 years, I have a friend who also was healed through him from a distant photo. Distant healing is sending a photograph. And he was actually healed. So I knew a person that literally was healed. So the first thing that I had to literally do is go within and flood myself with just positive thoughts. And I'm very lucky. I have so much love around me. So much love from family and friends. And that was really a true medicine. And everybody was so kind. Also, all our friends in Maui too. I never knew I was so much loved. It was mind-blowing. I had no idea. And it was wonderful to be the receiver. And I guess in my life I gave a lot, and I do believe you also receive. So I'm not afraid to receive. And I think that's also a bit of my savior. Because a lot of people have a very hard time with that. And so after that, we had friends who went through the same thing, and they offered this special diet that I'm still on and off on, if my discipline is strong enough. And then Kata helped me with taking the stress out of my internal organs with the eye health. I did Reich machine treatments. I did all kinds of different treatments. Different healers came by. Passion Flower helped tremendously with her healing hands, and Kathleen came by and transformed the operation, the hospital room in a healing room with crystals and music, and it was wonderful. And I knew that my last part of my healing was to go to John of God. So, but I had to get ready, because it's a big journey. I realized I was so lucky to be here in Maui. It was so peaceful, so close to the ocean, no traffic, no stress. Because once you go out in the world, and as I've noticed this time, there is a tremendous amount of stress. Just the mere fact in airplanes, changing climates, changing food, changing languages, the whole thing. And and in the meanwhile, my dear father, my sweet father, passed away. And very peacefully in his sleep, and I was very happy with, he wanted to join my mom. So, in the meanwhile, I flew from Maui to Los Angeles, met up with Orion, my son, and then flew to Amsterdam, we did an amazing ceremony for my father, very loving. Came back, and 2 days later, with two of the very close girlfriends, who I asked to join me, and they very gratefully accepted and thankfully for me said, yes, I come with you, because I could have gone along, but I felt not yet strong enough. Because, it's going into the unknown, which normally I would not have trouble with, but in this state of mind you do. You are like a little baby, like doing the first steps. So, and then I had my first stress attack, which is very alien to me. This strange sensation in my stomach on my way to Brazil. I thought, what is this? And I realized, a lot of people have this. It's horrible. It's like, it makes you like, it makes you not want to move. And it makes you not want to do anything. But I got over it, of course. And once we were in the airplane, and with my girlfriends, we landed in Brasilia. And then we took a taxi ride into Abadjania, where John of God is. And it was very interesting, because when I was still in Maui, I was still in a rosy state of mind, like everything was so peaceful, and it was loving, and it was so sweet and easy. And then I was just coming from this cloud. It had to happen. So on the way to Abadjania, I look out the window and I see this rainforest like being cut down. And you can see the grass is green, yes. And I thought, oh no, I'm in the third world, and I'm again back into destruction of nature. And I got all these thoughts. I thought, oh, this is not fun, these kind of thoughts. What's happening to me? But some people say that the entities work on you from a distance. And my very first healing, a good friend of mine, is very close to John of God. She works there all the time. I sent her my photo to her, and straight away sent it to him, and he said, I can help her, because they're honest. If they want you to do chemo, they also tell you to, or they're not against it. It's all up to you. And I really felt a strong connection, and she sent me the herbs. So you basically already made the bridge and a connection. So they say that already in the airplane I felt like strange swirling sensations that I started to recognize as the entities, as the spirits that work through him. It has a very distinct flavor, and it's definitely something not yourself, but something beneficial. And so I arrived, and then the town was just a little passion flower, has been there years ago, and she already, told me a few things that I knew what to expect. And I knew it was a little town, and I thought, I kind of thought it was more romantic, it's like old third world, and it's all like falling apart, and it's like, and I thought, what is happening to you? Shut up, I said to myself, can you not just be here? But it was part of the process too. And that's the one thing that, this healing brought into place is that to bring yourself with the deepest, in contact with your deepest self, which was I'm already working on, but also the shadow side, the side that you don't want to see. The side that I say, oh, it's yucky, I don't want to see it. But it was very interesting, because it's really, you were shown the black and the white, the good and the bad, and your actions then and the result now, and all throughout your life. So we waited for the day that it was an introduction, and you need it, because so many people, I don't know, we were in a time where there was an amazing amount of Brazilians. They come in busloads, and suddenly, it's not that you're like this far, you're this close apart. And every time you want to see it, you have to wait 3 or 4 hours. And the minute I stepped into that hall, I thought I was going to faint. It was like all this swirling in my stomach, and I said to Susan, I have to sit down. So I managed to find a place against the wall and sat down, and you already feel it. You already feel there's thousands of spirits, and it's overwhelming. And there's times you even feel you want to vomit because it's just so strong current. And there's actually such a thing called a current room. So when you stand in line, you come first into this room. So John of God sometimes comes out, and we all were a little bit fearful because he does physical operations where he literally scrapes your eyeballs with a kitchen knife. And he puts things up in your nose that goes all the way through your pituitary glands. And he just operates people while you're standing up straight and takes tumors out and God knows what. And nobody screams, nobody is like fainting or anything like it, no infections. Because he does things like a psychic, a narcosis, like he puts his hand on people and people just completely relax. And we met the first day, we met this American who said that he chose for the physical operation. Otherwise you get the psychic operation. That's what we wanted. We didn't want the scary physical operation. But he said he felt it, but he didn't feel pain. He heard the voices in the background, Brazilian, talking, and he heard in his head, in English, it's loose now. They went through his nose with this instrument, through the nostrils, all the way up, and somebody said it's loose now, and then he pulled it out, he put his head forward, all his blood came out, and he felt instantly healed. He had some issue with his esophagus. So, but we wanted a psychic surgery, so they tell you if you get one. He describes you either a psychic surgery or there's these crystal beds or baths as they call it. It's a bed with 6 giant crystals that have laser beams going up and down the chakras, very powerful. Or you go to the sacred waterfall where you get cleansed, or you have to sit in the current rooms, and I will explain that. So he sits, it's actually an amazing principle. He sits on like some kind of chair, like a throne, and he has translators, all 4 languages around him, but a lot of Brazilian. And he's like flanked with huge crystals, like as big as humans and wide, like huge amount of crystals, because you are sitting on one of the crystal grids of the earth. So that energy is very powerful. Then before you go to him, it's like an L-shaped room, there are these current rooms. And the first room is where everybody is dressed in white, and everybody sits and meditates for hours at a time and sends love and healing to John of God and the entities. But very, very intensely. And you step in the room and you go, oh my God, you feel it. It's like you're stepping into some kind of an high voltage energy net, because you can imagine everybody's extremely focused, and one session lasts 4 hours, and if you want to go to the toilet you have to ask permission, and somebody guides you to the toilet, somebody else takes your space. So you close your eyes, your legs are uncrossed, your hands are uncrossed, and you sit and you send love and healing, and you feel it when you go into these spaces, these rooms. So as you walk through these rooms, at the very end, near him, there are all the very powerful mediums. People from all over the world, very unusual looking people. Also, I saw a black lady that looked like a rubber doll, very like a creature from another planet. Very powerful beings sitting there, holding their energy, because what his body is very hard to take on a human body. What he does it for 58 years, and every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, every week of the year, every week, and he is in his 70s, I think early 70s. he himself doesn't look so healthy. He's overweight and so on because, he's sitting in trance all the time. Like he said, I'm a normal human being. I don't, I'm not a prophet. I don't claim anything. I'm just a messenger. And he's humble about this. And I really appreciate it. And the first time I was in line, he said, operation now. I said, oh my God. I mean, I thought maybe he meant the real operation, and I was like, oh shit, I hope it doesn't happen to me. But it only means you come back in the afternoon at 2 o'clock. You wait again another, God knows how long, many hours. And you go in a special room where he comes in. Like in the meanwhile, the stream of people doesn't stop. So he then takes a break from the stream of people, goes to the psychic operation room, and talks you, and blesses you, and tells you to link up with God, and feel the gratitude flowing. And it was very interesting because everybody has a different experience. So in my case, I felt like my eyeballs were pushed back. And at first, then you have to straight go through your guest house and lie down for 24 hours. And go deep within. And it was very powerful. I definitely felt all kinds of sensations. I first thought it would be very physical, but I had the physical part in the beginning. It was like very psychological, mental, and emotional. It was like somebody was like looking into my memory and going, like a book, and saying, look at this. And this memory comes alive. I think, oh my God, is that happened so and so. I never thought about this memory for so many years. So you go through all these amazing events in your life that you didn't make any connection with. You had no idea it was linked to something else. Like they really made you look within the archives of your being, like the Akashic records, or and the effect certain memories have on you. And I thought it was not always pleasant, but it was very good. Like also very emotional, like take responsibility for the things that you have said and done. And that how it affected you later in life. So that was the first psychic operation I had. And then a week later, they do such a thing called the spiritual removal of your stitches, which was very interesting, where you dress in white. A week later, you drink holy water, and you lie down just for the night, not in the daytime. And that was very powerful. It was really like people are pulling and pushing you and digging in my abdominal area, and I thought, what? I woke up and I said, what are you doing? And boom, I fell asleep again. It was very, very physical, that one. Very interesting. And my girlfriends had also very strong reactions with the memories coming back, and also with the memories coming back, they also came back certain reactions that they had. And something that we might have wanted to pursue or have to pursue to finish these certain stories. And so this was a very also psychological thing, emotional and psychological, and I learned so much about it. And including with the crystal baths. The first time I had a session, my third eye was like pounding, like, and I thought, oh my God, this is so intense, because it's all so magnified by the crystals and the energy and the spirits. And also one thing that was very, very touching for me, and I guess I always believed in immortality, but I never allowed myself to die. From the minute I got this, I knew I would live. But they showed me in order to live, you have to see all possibilities. And so the experience in John of God allowed me to die to myself. So I died, and it was so beautiful. It was too beautiful. It was so easy. And to dissolve it into the light was incredible. And I said to myself, I want to go there, but I'm not ready yet. I want to stay. And so I came back, but I realized it was the best thing ever to go, to go to this, literally let myself die. Because I love life so much. And I was in a survival instinct, and I had to do it. I had to do it. No, you don't have to, but yes, in order to face life and death, you are posed with both things. And that was a very beautiful gift he gave me. And I will always remember that. So in the meanwhile, we were like a little bit of naughty girls, because everybody was like all the time there with John of God in the bubble, as I said. But we did 1 week with John of God, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the rest of the days you do your own thing, and I did. But then we did a round of John of God, and then I was exhausted because there were so many people. All the energies. I mean, no matter what, and Pashplau knows exactly what I talk about. You're not only, there is so much light from the entities, but some people that you might stand next to, have a certain issues that when you are sensitive, it affects you. So we just took a taxi and we went to go to Alto Paraíso and to see this beautiful waterfalls, which were very, very special area, because I really didn't know that this is the area where UFO lands. So we went from one special spiritual area to another, and you have been there too, right? And people are very esoteric there. All the healers come there. It's like all this highway of crystal, all the way from where John of God is, all the way to Venezuela. They say from space, they look down and they see this incredible crystal grid. So it's the vibration of it is very high. And you feel it. You see it in the cloud formations. You see it in the land. And so we went there, and then we came for the last round with John of God, and it was pretty amazing. And it was an incredible, and I'm very happy that I had this experience, and that Gilbert had the wisdom to let me go. It was hard for him, because he was, of course, when you love someone, you are like worried that when something like this happens, or you just want them to be safe, and it was tough. And I must admit, it affected my immune system. I got diarrhea in Brazil, and there was mosquitoes, there were huge spiders. It was, you get woken up again, because, you get woken up from your dream. Because Maui is very sedative. There's no dangerous and poisonous animals. And there you have to wake up. This is it's not exactly the Amazon, but it's the fringe of the Amazon. I saw this cute little tamarin monkey, so cute, so small. Outside our window, we had a beautiful bedroom window that we shared with the three of us. And my girlfriend was so supportive and so loving. And, it was a very deep spiritual journey, and I think all three of us got so much out of it. And but you also realize I didn't expect a miracle, because I know no matter what, it's your own responsibility. You are the biggest healer of your own health. And so you have to, really, I noticed also undisciplined thoughts in those current rooms. I hated the current rooms. That's not, I didn't hate it. First of all, the first visit, I was very grateful that I could return the favor and extend the love and energy, not only take. But it was tough to sit for 4 hours. It was so hot. It's Brazil. And then the fans are blowing, and then the fans are blowing on you, you get ice cold. So people, and then you can't open your eyes. And I want to see we were peeping every now and then, opening your eyes. What's he doing? He's like taking stuff out of people. And I'm not going to see it. I said, I want to see every now and then, and you bag. Sorry to keep your back straight. So that was tough. It was not easy. It was hard work, I have to say. It's the truth. Maybe for others it's easier, but you would agree, right? It's hard work. And so be it, because we want to get healthy, we want to get back to this nice rhythm. You have to do something for it. And yeah, I absolutely don't regret that this happened. I've always thought it out, and I'm very happy that I followed my intuition and did it. And yeah, thank you for listening to me. On the way back, my last thing I want to say, I lost a little bit more weight, but I will gain it back again. And I realized after John of God that I'm on a new page, so I went to see a naturopath in LA to readjust my supplements, because my hair was falling out, and he said because of your hormones, if they take out your uterus, all your hormones fall out. You have no hormones left at all from 1 minute to another. So he put me on some thyroid and hormones and all natural products, and that feels good. So yeah, my journey continues, but I felt that the last layer of my healing journey was completed. And thank you for all of you for being there with me. I really treasure that. And well, thank you for coming and listening.
Well,
and
thank you for sharing.
Help,
We love you.
thank you. And if I may be of help to anybody to talk about, fear or not being fearful, I would be happy to, because I do realize that, especially with cancer, there's so much fear involved, so much pressure that it's very difficult, even if you're a strong person, I know I am, to come back to your center, to what you feel is right for you, and still be open to the right opinion, and don't close off at all. And the Western world did save me, and I'm very grateful for that, because I would have died if I didn't have the operation, let's face it. And but yes, it's very important, I think, we constantly develop these tools that we get to calm our minds and to bring peace in our hearts, because without it I would have been lost. And it's very tough. So I'm a lucky girl. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Well, Mary